Hello and welcome to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy, where we get to showcase Magic's most powerful formats. I'm Bryson, and I will be your commentator this evening. We've got William playing Boros Synthesizer on the left, and Steven with the Gruul Tron list on the right. Now, William's Boros Synthesizer list, similar to most Boros strategies, using Thraben Inspector, Core Skyfisher, as well as the Glinthawk to reset the experimental synthesizer and generate more card advantage, eventually crossing the finish line with a myriad of tokens, burn, or any direct damage source. Now, where Steven's Tron list is trying to develop Tron with the 3 Urza's lands to produce 7 mana, so there are a large amount of colorless threats, such as the Rune Processor and the Wretched Gryph, as well as the Chromatic Star and Sphere to help color fix, and the map to help get the lands, as well as the crop rotation. Alright, enough with the introductions. Let's get the game started. Looks like Steven got to play here with a pretty good Urza's Tower into Expedition map. And with the follow-up Urza's Mine, guaranteeing Tron by turn 3, while William starts off with a tap land and follows it up with a Thraben Inspector. William there accidentally clicking the life total the wrong way. He adjusts it later on in the game. So we've got Steven now playing, cracking the Expedition map to get the final piece, the 3rd Tron land. So now he has the Mine, the Power Plant, and the Tower. So he'll be able to make his land drop for this turn and produce 7 mana. Looks like decides to just play and crack the Expedition map, as it costs a total of 3 mana, and that Urza's Tower produces full 3 mana. Now he grabs the Cave of Temptation, allowing him to not only fix colors, but to increase the power of a creature by putting +1/+1 counters on it. Continues his turn by putting into play a Chromatic Star, floating a colorless there, as the Urza lands produce 2 colorless mana. Decides to just crack the star immediately, cycles that colorless into green, and catches in that colorless on a Relic of Progenitus. Normally, just a card to control the graveyard, but in conjunction with the Rune Processor, it gives Steven the ability to gain an additional 5 life on ETB. Or I guess it's on cast. My apologies. Now we see that Synthesizer coming into play, hitting a Galvanic Blast, which goes straight upstairs with that Metalcraft online. Now there we see that Rune Processor coming into play, and that Relic of Progenitus used to exile that Galvanic Blast, so then the Rune Processor can bring it back into the graveyard, allowing Steven to tick his way back up to 20. Now here we see that Core Skyfisher used to pick up the Synthesizer, which triggers the next clause of when it leaves the play, exiling the top card and allowing him to get the land drop with that Ancient Den. He puts into play that Seeker of the Way and passes back. Steven now swinging in with his large 7/8 and not really doing anything else besides exiling. Synthesizer comes back and it finds a Makeshift Munitions, really allowing William to create some advantage out of those additional land drops and push ahead its value engine. Seeker of the Way crashing in for what looks like 4 lifelink there. Saying go, passing it back to Steven. Steven with his second source of colored mana there with that Forest. Decides to mush in with the Rune Processor. William takes it, and it's back to William. Draws for turn. He's got a lot of lands in hand here. Not really much action. Uses that Sky Fisher. Pick back up the Synthesizer. Hits more land. Hits Synthesizer. And gets another Core Skyfisher, which then bounces the Synthesizer, which then hits him a land. Crashes in for some lifelink. Gets him back up to 23. And he just passes the turn there. end step looks like. Oh no, this is a main phase. Playing another rune processor, which is amply fed by that Relic of Progenitus ticking away at William's graveyard. Back to William now with another synthesizer. Synthesizer hitting that Kadoltha Rebirth, which he decides to sacrifice a land because it just requires you to sacrifice an artifact, allowing him to get rid of his superfluous land drops there. There go the tokens there with just the upside down cards to represent the 1/1 goblins produced by the Kadoltha Rebirth. William there marveling with the amount of lands he has in play and just ships it back. Steven now under quite the threat with all these flying attackers as well as creatures on the ground. And that's a concession from Steven, and off to game 2. Steven off to a decent start here with Tron land into Chromatic Star, allowing him to potentially cycle into green mana for a crop rotation or some other effect. Steven there with just another land drop, pass. William finding that land off the synthesizer, which he unfortunately cannot deploy since he's already made a land drop. Uses that Glint Hawk, which bounces the synthesizer, hitting another land, neither of which playable. Probably good, clearing the top of his library. Decides to hold off on the land drop, hit the synthesizer since he's most likely going to hit a land. Another Glint Hawk now. Wow, ripping 4 lands off the top with that synthesizer loop through that Glint Hawk. William now with a pretty full grip and 4 damage crashing in through the air. Steven not really doing much, just land go. William now deploying that Seeker of the Way that he found off that synthesizer. He goes with another synthesizer. Keeping track of prowess, although can't swing this turn. Steven now cracking that star. Some of his sideboard technology, the Fiery Cannonade, sweeping up those 2 flying Glint Hawks, but unfortunately Seeker of the Way pushing itself out with those prowess triggers. McCarty now playing and sacking that Expedition map to find the last piece of Tron. I believe he already played his land drop for this turn, so I'm not sure what else he'll be able to do. No, I guess not. I think that was his land drop for this turn, and he just passes back to William. William now untapping with this 4 mana and 2 synthesizers in play. Starts off with the Skyfisher, bouncing its synthesizer. Another synthesizer hitting that Kadoltha Rebirth, able to sack a land and crash in with these 3 additional 1/1s. And another Thraben Inspector to clean it up. That Seeker of the Way swinging in for 4 lifelink. And passes the turn back to McCarty. McCarty now with his Tron online. Looks like he's tapping 7 mana there. Looking at the Rune Processor, which puts one of those exiled cards back into his graveyard, allowing Steven to gain life. Steven with that Bajuka Bog, clearing out the entire graveyard, restocking for the Rune Processor. Bajuka Bog not too powerful in this matchup, but still has text, as Rally the Peasants here, which has flashback, and it crashed in here for quite a bit of damage there. What a game with Pauper, showing the power level with just a few beaters in play and being able to cast Rally the Peasants twice, pumping his entire board 4 power per body, quickly overwhelming that Tron deck. If you liked watching that game and look forward for more content, please consider subscribing and liking down below. Every little bit helps. And if you're interested in the deck list or any more information, everything is linked down in the description below. And special thanks to Spellhold Games for providing us the area to make all these recordings. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again next time.